Thank you so much for coming this evening. And now, our 7th and 8th grade orchestra.
So that you can fully enjoy tonight's concert, we have student readers who are going to give you a little bit of background information about each piece we play. Our first student reader is 8th grade viola player, Phoebe Kessel.
The Star-Spangled Banner, arranged by Bud Caputo. The Star-Spangled Banner is the national anthem of the United States. The lyrics come from the defense of Fort McHenry, a poem written in 1814 by Francis Scott Key after he witnessed the bombardment of Fort McHenry in Baltimore by British ships in the War of 1812. This poem was set to the tune of a popular British song written by John Stafford Smith and renamed the Star-Spangled Banner. It would soon become a well-known American patriotic song. With a very large range between its lowest and highest pitched notes, it is known for being difficult to sing. Although the poem has 4 stanzas, only the first is commonly sung today. The Star-Spangled Banner was recognized for official use by the Navy in 1889 and was made the official national anthem of the United States of America by congressional resolution on March 3, 1931, which was signed by President Herbert Hoover. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, by the EHMMS 7th and 8th grade orchestra.
We'd like to thank Mother Nature for naturally providing the bombs bursting in air. Up next, to read about our next piece of music, we'll have 7th grade violist Georgie Swingler. But first, there's a little disclaimer that I have to tell you about. Because of the country that's whose music is represented in the next piece, there could be some controversy construed in it. So I just want to set the record straight. We chose this piece of music many, many months ago before war broke out in Ukraine, and we only selected this music because of the quality of the music for the music's sake. We are not making a political statement. We are not choosing sides in a war. We are not using these young ladies and gentlemen as political pawns. No political statements tonight. This is just very, very good music that's been around well before the government that's currently in Russia or any of the leaders. So I hope you can just look at it with an open mind for just the music's sake only. This is ancient folk music to be celebrated just like any other folk music from any other country. Thank you. Georgie Swingler.
Postcards from
from Russia by Carrie Langer-Sell. Postcards from Russia is a medley made up of 3 Russian folk tunes, Minka, Meadowland, and Korobushka. Each of them are characteristic of music from this country. They are composed in a minor key, they feature a big heavy tone, and they are fast in tempo. The many volume and speed changes make this a challenging yet fun piece to play. Carrie Langer-Sell has expertly arranged these folk tunes for string orchestra. A native of Wisconsin, she holds degrees in the music from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. She teaches elementary and middle school orchestra in Appleton, Wisconsin, and also teaches at Lawrence, the University Academy of Music. Her compositions for string orchestra are performed all over the United States and Australia.
Our next reader is 8th grade cellist Jessica Morris.
Japanese Folk Fantasy by James Purnam. Written in 2012, Japanese Folk Fantasy is a medley of 3 melodies from the Asian country of Japan. Sakura, which means cherry blossoms, Hatsuo Koi, which means come firefly, Mizuguruma, which means the water wheel. Each melody features its own key signature, tempo, and style. James Cornell was born and raised in Michigan, and he received his music training in the Salvation Army music program there. He has composed several works for band, chorus, orchestra, chamber groups, and instrumental solos. Mr. Cornell currently lives in Kentucky, where he is president of Cornell Music Press, composer in residence at Asbury University, and editor of all music publications for the Salvation Army.
Our next reader is 7th grade cellist Morgana Lowball.
Finale by Franz Josef Haydn. Austrian composer Franz Josef Haydn lived from 1732 until 1809, but was a master of the classical era of composition. Known as the father of the symphony, he wrote an amazing 106 symphonies in his lifetime. Because he lived a long life, wrote so many great compositions, and served as a mentor to other composers of the day, like Mozart and Beethoven, Franz Josef earned the nickname Papa Haydn, a term of endearment by which he referred to even in the present day. If you don't believe me, just watch Jeopardy on a day that composers is one of the categories. His surprise symphony is the 94th one he wrote. Although the first movement is most famous because it contains the actual surprise, we are going to perform the fourth movement, or finale, this evening. The finale is written in wrong order. This form contains a main melody, called the A theme, which keeps returning after other contrasting themes, B and C, are introduced by the composer. The piece ends in a flurry, with an exciting coda which puts the final exclamation point on this wonderful composition.
Our next reader is 8th grade cellist Jessica Morris.
Japanese Folk Fantasy by James Perna. Written in 2012, Japanese Folk Fantasy is a medley of 3 melodies from the Asian country of Japan. Sakura, which means cherry blossoms, Hatua Koi, which means come firefly, Mizuguruma, which means the water wheel. Each melody features its own key signature, tempo, and style. James Cornell was born and raised in Michigan, and he received his music training in the Salvation Army music program there. He has composed several works for band, chorus, orchestra, chamber groups, and instrumental solos. Mr. Cornell currently lives in Kentucky, where he is president of Cornell Music Press, composer in residence at Asbury University, and editor of all music publications for the Salvation Army.
Our next reader is 7th grade cellist Morgana Lowball.
Finale by Franz Josef Haydn. Austrian composer Franz Josef Haydn lived from 1732 until 1809 and was a master of the classical era of composition. Known as the father of the symphony, he wrote an amazing 106 symphonies in his lifetime. Because he lived a long life, wrote so many great compositions, and served as a mentor to other composers of the day, like Mozart and Beethoven, Franz Josef earned the nickname Papa Haydn, a term of endearment by which he referred to even in the present day. If you don't believe me, just watch Jeopardy on a day that composers is one of the categories. His surprise symphony is the 94th one he wrote. Although the first movement is most famous because it contains the actual surprise, We are going to perform the fourth movement, or finale, this evening. The finale is written in rhyme rhythm. This form contains a main melody, called the A theme, which keeps returning after other contrasting themes, B and C, are introduced by the composer. The piece ends in a flurry, when the exciting coda, which puts the final exclamation point on this wonderful composition.
Okay, at this time, the 7th and 8th grade orchestra is going to clear the stage, and the chamber orchestra will be with you in a few moments. Our first student reader for the chamber orchestra is 6th grade viola player Alex Kohler.
Mozart, Serenade and Dance by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, arranged by John O'Reilly, influenced by Papa Haydn. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was one of the greatest composers who ever lived, and he wrote most of his compositions in Vienna, Austria. He wrote over 600 compositions in his short lifetime, which only spanned 35 years, from 1756 to 1791. The chamber orchestra will now perform one of his works in 2 movements. The Serenade and Dance. A serenade is a calm, soothing piece of music that is performed outdoors, usually at night. The serenade in this arrangement comes from his Eine kleine Nachtmusik. It is one of Mozart's most famous compositions. The dance is from a divertimento he wrote in the late 1700s. A divertimento is an amusing, entertaining piece of music written for a small orchestra. It features many bow techniques, including hooked bow and brushing, where we start and end each note above or off the string.
And now we're going to have a little treat for you. This is a chamber orchestra, which means small orchestra or even smaller than that. We could be an octet, a trio, a duet, a quartet. And so what we'd like to do now is feature 3 octets and a quartet. The first octet to perform down in the pit this evening is the Allegro String Octet +1, the +1 being a bass player. Go ahead down, guys. They're going to perform another piece from Austria. You'll notice we're doing a lot of Austrian music, and that's because, like, of all the cities in the world, Vienna, Austria has probably produced the largest volume of music in the history of the civilized world. It's a very, very important cultural center for musicians. And so anybody who plays an instrument should really be familiar with the music and the composers of Vienna, Austria. So this is from the Romantic era, which happened in the 1800s after the classical era. We've already heard Papa Haydn. We've already heard Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Now we're going to go 2 generations past Mozart to the Waltz King, Johann Strauss Jr. Johann Strauss Sr. was a composer, but Johann Strauss Jr. became famous for his waltzes, which is a German dance in 3. And this is one of his many, many famous waltzes he wrote. This is the Emperor Waltz by the Allegro String Octet +1. I have to tell you, the members of the chamber orchestra are brave souls. They don't have much in the way of teammates to lean on. They have to know their own part or the whole thing falls apart. I think they did a great job. And we're about to hear 3 more great jobs. Up next is the Presto String Octet +1. Geographically, we're going to stay in Europe, but we're going to go a little to the north, to Germany, der Deutschland. And the composer who followed Papa Haydn, and then Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and then there was Ludwig van Beethoven in there. The one who followed Beethoven was Johannes Brahms. And he was known for writing very expressive music that just sunk down into your soul. And he is going to the octet is going to play a piece of music that he wrote based off a melody written by Papa Haydn. See Haydn's influence there? So this is the St. Anthony Chorale with melody by Papa Haydn, but all the rest of the composition is all Johannes Brahms. The Presto, I almost forgot the name, Presto String Octet, +1. Now we're going to head south to the beautiful country of Italy. Everything is beautiful in Italy. The landscape, the architecture, but perhaps nothing is more beautiful than the Italian opera. And nobody could write an opera quite as beautiful as Puccini, the late Romantic composer. We are going to, this is the Vivace String Quartet. They're going to play a famous aria from a famous opera by Puccini. This is O mio babbino caro. And this is a young lady, a teenager, an older teenager, like 18 or 19 years old. She wants something, and father says no. And so she's saying, "Oh, my beloved daddy, please let me have it." So this is O mio babbino caro, Oh, my beloved daddy, by the Vivace String Octet, +1. takes a lot of maturity to play a slow, expressive piece of music like that and not have it crash. I think they did a great job. Now we're going to hear a quartet, which is 4 players, and you're going to hear the first of its kind. I think we are like trailblazers in this area. Right now, all across the country, the music education, the NAFME, National Association for Music Education, is pushing modern things. They have these things called modern bands with guitars and drums. Well, one area that I think is neglected is chamber groups can also be modern. What we have right here is the modern string quartet. We have four electric instruments, 2 electric violins, an electric viola, and an electric cello. We are very thankful. We would like to thank the Southwestern Education Foundation. We received a grant from them, which made the purchase of these instruments possible. Is there anybody here from the foundation? I know some people were planning to come. So I saw 1 or 2 hands go. Can we give the Education Foundation a round of applause? This is definitely the first group of its kind in York County, and possibly in the country. This is the future, I think, of chamber music, electrifying our ancient acoustic string instruments. So this is the Modern String Quartet from EHMMS, and they're going to perform a piece from France. We're off to merry old France, vive la France, and they're going to play Concerto in E minor by Charles Avisson. And our student reader for our final chamber orchestra piece is 7th grade bass player Mary Eaton.
Fiddle of Finnegan by Keith Sharp. Historically, folk music has been written by working people for working people, usually in the form of a dance or a song, with characteristically simple but beautiful melodies. Fiddle of Finnegan is written in an Irish folk dance style known as a reel. It was composed by Keith Sharp in 2006. Mr. Sharp teaches string instruments in the School of Brisbane, Australia. His compositions have been performed by school orchestras in Australia, the United States, Great Britain, and Germany.
Up next, we'll have our 6th grade orchestra in just a few minutes. Weren't these guys terrific? Our first sixth grade reader is violinist Maddie Weaver.
Clog Dance by Elliot Del Borgo. Elliot Del Borgo was one of the most prolific composers of the late 20th century and early 21st century. A winner of several ASCAP awards, Del Borgo was professor of composition at Crane School of Music in Potsdam, New York, and he composed the music for the 1980 Winter Olympic Games at Lake Placid. Clog dance is a name for a type of shoe that is popular in Holland. Usually made of wood, a clog is a shoe that has a bottom, top, sides, but no back. Once its own country, Holland is now a region of a larger country known as the Netherlands.
Our next student reader is viola player Morgan Sweet.
Minuet by George Frederick Handel, arranged by Purnam. George Frederick Handel was born in Germany in 1685, but he spent the majority of his life in England. In his lifetime, Handel composed 42 operas, 29 oratorios, 16 organ concerti, over 120 cantatas, trios, and duets, and numerous chamber music pieces. Of his over 200 masterpieces, his most famous work is the Messiah, which features the popular Hallelujah chorus. Handel died in 1759, but his fame lives on today in his masterful compositions. A minuet is light yet stately dance in 3/4 time signature that was popular during the Baroque era of composition. The minuet we will play for you this evening comes from a much larger piece of music written by Handel, the Water Music.
And our final 6th grade student reader of the evening is violinist Molly Starrett.
Golfless Parts by Kathy L. Fishburne. Kathy L. Fishburne is an orchestra director at Tascosa High School in Amarillo, Texas. and she's an executive director of the Greater Southwest Music Festival. Gulf Coast Pirates is an exciting piece which features dotted coordinate rhythms combined with 8 notes. When we play this rhythm combination correctly, it creates a swashbuckling good time on the high seas.
At this time, we're going to bring out our 7th and 8th graders for our grand finale. Couple of announcements before we play our final number. We are having a practice challenge to see who comes to the pizza party in May. So far, we started the contest at the beginning of March. It will conclude at the end of April. We're trying to get 250 minutes of practice in March, 250 minutes in April, for a total of 500 minutes. Notated on our practice calendar and signed by our parents. Our March charts are due tomorrow. So make sure, parents, you sign off on their minutes on their charts, and we'll do this all over again in April. Anybody who gets 500 minutes in the next 2 months will be invited to the pizza party at a later time on a day after school. Right now, I would like to recognize some orchestra members who have gone above and beyond this year. Okay, the Pigeon Hill String Invitational involved all the school districts that border or can view the Pigeon Hills from their home district. That would be Southwestern, Spring Grove, Hanover Public, and Conewago Valley. And we had, I think we had a record, was it 30 of you that did that this year? If you were in the Pigeon Hills String Invitational back in November, could you wave your bow real tall for everybody to see? How about a hand for our Pigeon Hillers? Also, you'll notice some of the members are wearing blue bow ties and cummerbunds instead of red or black. That's because that's their uniform for the York Junior Symphony. The York Junior Symphony Orchestra is made up of the finest 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade musicians. It's a full symphony orchestra with band and orchestra instruments, and they practice every Saturday morning in York and give 2 concerts a year. And we have not 1, not 2, but 3 York Junior Symphony Orchestra members this year: Sophia Leppo, Pei Shin Zhang, and Owen Horn. Could you guys wave your bow to everybody? We also had 2 8th graders who joined an adult orchestra this year, the Hanover Symphony Orchestra, and they just had a concert on Sunday. That would be Caleb Leckrone and Nyla Pellis. And then one more thing didn't quite make it into the program. The Hanover Symphony Orchestra runs a program called the HSO Kids, where kids from 6 local school districts, well, actually it's 5 school districts and a private school, can sign up to participate in a workshop, a master class with musicians of the Hanover Symphony, where they learn valuable playing techniques. Then they practice alongside a Hanover Symphony Orchestra member in preparing 2 pieces for the Hanover Symphony's concert, which was last Sunday. And this is the program. They went on the high seas with us. These young ladies and gentlemen were part of the HSO Kids program, and they performed Pirates of Penzance Overture and Pirates of the Caribbean with the adult members and our student members of the Hanover Symphony Orchestra. I'll call their name. I'll call their name after I sit everybody down. Okay, they'll stand individually to take some applause. Congratulations to the following HSO Kids participants. Violinist Emma Carson. Is flute player Jade Curry in the audience? Can you stand up and be recognized? Jade Curry played the flute at the symphony. Her sister Rowan Curry played the violin. And on the cello, we had Lila Eltz. On the violin, Ronan Hilker. Also on the violin, Mallory Hilliard. On the viola, we had Noella Homan. On the double bass, Braden Myers. On the cello, Liam Owens. On the violin, Ava Pichardo. Also on the violin, Landon Pittinger. On the cello, Lillian Schmid. Also on the cello, Logan Shoemaker. On the violin, Maddie Weaver. And on the cello, Joel Worley. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our final student reader of the evening, here to take us back to the good old US of A after touring the rest of the world, is 8th grade viola player Garrett Block.
Foxhorn and Fiddling by Carrie Lane Grissell. We arrived back home in the USA for our final piece this evening. The Foxhorn and Fiddling highlights the rich cultural heritage of the Appalachian Mountain area. On the east coast of the United States, music is an important part of the Appalachian way of life. In fact, music is one of its best known elements for the Appalachian culture. Appalachian music can be best described as a mix of English and Scottish ballads, Irish and Scottish fiddle music, and African American blues style. The foxhorn fiddling pushes the technical boundaries of the orchestra by featuring double stops, legato bowing, lightning fast fingers, and lightning fast string changes. On behalf of Mr. Kuntz and everyone in the EHMMS Orchestra, thank you for being a fantastic audience tonight and supporting us through the school year. And now, hold on to your seats and prepare to be amazed by our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade combined orchestra as we play our grand finale for you tonight.
We thank you once again for being a wonderful audience, and our students are going to come out to the auditorium to meet you. 7th and 8th graders will be on the back ramp, and 6th graders are going to come up to the LGIs. Thank you so much and have a great evening.